What is going on, guys? Welcome back to CpyNews, and we have more news stories for the day. So let's get into today's first story, shall we? Which comes from video cards. This is sort of a rumor and a leak. It's a bit weird because this came out because of all the FTC stuff that went on with Microsoft. So apparently Xbox is looking at a refresh and next-gen leaks through FTC versus Microsoft case documents. Despite what Microsoft team has been saying, Xbox Series is heading for a refresh. Legal documents from the ongoing FTC versus Microsoft case have included an attachment that no one at Xbox wanted the world to see, a full disclosure of the upcoming console refresh, and much more. Now, for most of this, it looks like it'll be another 4K console. It's going to be the same price, but it's going to have more storage at 2 terabytes. It's going to have a USB-C front port with power delivery. Reduced PSU power by 15%. New lost power standby mode is 20% of current standby mode. All recyclable packaging. It's going to have Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. It's going to be on a 6nm design. Although I don't know if that'll be the case. I feel like it might actually be smaller than that. Like what, Nvidia's on 5nm and isn't like AMD there as well? Or close to? Or going to be? This is a good while before this comes out. There's a lot of slides here. And it's pretty much similar for the Xbox Series S. It's going to be the same price, $299. It's going to have 1TB of storage. There is going to be a new controller as well. Here's like their sort of goals and ideas and stuff. Increased storage, rechargeable, removable controller batteries. I don't know what XDL is. Updated controller with increased immersion. Faster controller charging. As you can see here, you get sort of an idea of what they're going for. So apparently the Series S is going to be what? I'm presuming that 40F is 4 teraflops and aimed at 1440p. The Series SX is going to be 12 teraflops aimed at 4K. And the RAM's going to be upchrist to 16 gigs on Series X. Like, honestly, this is quite bare bones stuff. But the new controller does look interesting, at least. If this is what it's going to be. You're going to have haptic feedback. We say haptics double as speakers, accelerometer, quieter buttons and thumbsticks. As I said before, rechargeable batteries, recycled materials, less resin, blah blah blah. It's going to be able to be repaired and disassembled, which will be nice for people. New modular thumbsticks, improved longevity. Well, we already have that with the Elite controllers, right? So it looks like they're bringing some more of those features. Will be to the new controller, I guess. It'll be Bluetooth 5.2, Xbox Wireless 2, Direct to Cloud. I mean, it's a controller. I won't personally use it, but it's a controller. This is where we get a little bit more of some details of sort of what they're thinking. So for the GPU, it looks like they're going to be going with AMD again. But what's interesting is that for the CPU, they haven't decided whether they're gonna go ARM64 or Zen 6. And then all the other stuff is basically graphics innovations like next-gen ray tracing, dynamic global illumination, rendering optimizations. Basically make everything look better and work better and be more efficient. And that's fair enough, right? I mean, that's what you'd expect from a new console for it to get better. So it looks like they're going to be adding super resolution, frame rate interpolation, basically everything from FSR3, basically, right? That's basically where it wants to go with this. What's interesting in this one is the LLP dialogue generation. I'm wondering what fashion that's going to take. Yeah, it looks like this isn't going to come out until maybe 2028. It's a while yet. Although I don't feel like it'll be that long. I feel like it'll be more 2026. I don't feel like they'll wait till 2028. I feel like that would be very, very long in this current generation cycle, given the way games are going and performance and stuff. I feel like you'd be waiting a very long time for that, right? And we have more Xbox news. And this one is about Microsoft's Phil Spencer acquiring Nintendo would be a good move for both companies. This comes from more internal emails and stuff from the FTC stuff. Because that's just been what this week's been. It's been more stuff about the FTC. And basically, it's nothing special, right? Basically, Microsoft was looking at acquisitions in 2020, and they were discussing what would be good acquisitions, what would be bad acquisitions, right? So, some of the things they were looking at was Nintendo, Valve, Warner Bros. Interactive, and ZeniMax, who were all seen as potential targets for acquisition, with Microsoft ultimately opting to buy the latter, which was ZeniMax. Described by Spencer as a prime asset for Microsoft, he wrote that if any US company would have a chance with Nintendo, we are probably in the best position. At some point, getting Nintendo would be a career moment, and I honestly believe a good move for both companies, the Xbox head said. Spencer acknowledged that acquisition would be difficult as Nintendo is sitting on a big pile of cash, and it would take a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off their own hardware a long time. And I mean, obviously, they're going to have more than one acquisition target, right? And I don't think this should be surprising or news to anyone, really. I think Nintendo is impossible because isn't it against Japanese law for a company like Nintendo to be owned by a foreign nation? I'm pretty sure that no US company can own, or no foreign company, can own a Japanese company, right? Pretty sure that's the case. I might be wrong on that, so don't quote me on that one. But I bet if Sony could buy Nintendo, they would buy Nintendo. And we're not done there with leaked stuff. We've still got more leaked stuff, which is leaks Bethesda roadmap reveals new Doom game, Dishonored 3, Fallout 3 remaster, and more. So the FTC leaks giving and giving, and we have now found that there is more to this. So if we look at this one, this graphic here, which is tiny, thank you. There we go, I blew that up for you guys. So you got Doom Year Zero and DLC, Project Kestrel, Elder Scrolls Online expansion, Project Platinum, God knows what that is, 2024, Elder Scrolls 6, Project Kestrel expansion, a random licensed IP game that is not named, Fallout 3 remaster, another Elder Scrolls expansion, Ghostwire Tokyo sequel, Dishonored 3, and Doom Year Zero DLC. So that's kind of what's coming. A Ghostwire Tokyo sequel is interesting. I think that will interest many people who may be interested in that game. I know the first one was rather well received overall, I think most people enjoyed playing it, right? But yeah, we had more leaks and leaks and leaks, and it's kind of insane with all the leaks that are going on right now, isn't it really? It's kind of some madness there. But yeah, let's move on to our next story, which is about Unity. And again, we've got more to talk about Unity, and it's kind of disgusting, this one. Unity reportedly told Dev, Planned Parenthood, and Children's Hospital are not valid charities. Developers of indie puzzle game Organizer have claimed that Unity said organizations like Planned Parenthood are not valid charities and are instead political groups. And this to me was freaking insane. In a blog post, the EU-based developer Lizard Factory said the plans to charge developers up to 20 cents per install if they reach certain thresholds would cost them around 30% of the funds we've gathered and already sent to charity. As Unity clarified, the runtime fee will not apply to charity games. Lizard Factory reached out to the company to clarify their game would be exempt from the plan. Unity reportedly said that their partners were not valid charities and were viewed as political groups. Profits made from the game go directly to non-profit organization Planned Parenthood and CS Mott Children's Hospital, Michigan. And the developers say, we did this to raise money for a good cause, not to line the coffers of greedy scumbags, the developers wrote in a blog post. We have been solid Unity fanboys for over 10 years, but the trust is scattered all over the floor, and they're considering moving to another games engine. But let's just have a look at these political groups, shall we, and see what politics do they deal with. Oh, so first of all, we've got CS Mott Children's Hospital. They deal with allergies and immunology, so immune diseases, behavioural and mental health, rare blood disorders, bones, muscles and joints, brain and neurological conditions, cancer, dentistry, digestive and liver health, ear, nose, throat, emergency care and trauma care, eye and vision, fetal diagnosis and treatment, genetic disorders, heart conditions, kidney disease, infectious diseases, newborn intensive care, pediatric and adolescent gynecology, pediatric primary care, pediatric surgery, plastic surgery, pregnancy and childbirth, radiology and imaging, and what else have we got here? They basically deal with everything, including sick cancer kids, people with rare blood disorders, heart conditions, genetic defects, newborn intensive care for cases that are very specialised and severe, right? And apparently, that's a political group. Yeah, Unity doesn't like kids with cancer, guys, apparently. And then when we look at Planned Parenthood, now this one will be a more of a controversial one, depending on which side of the fence, whether you're pro-life or not. You are pro-life, sorry if I offend you. What they do: abortion services, abortion referral, birth control, emergency contraception, primary care, HIV services, hormone replacement therapy, men's health services, addressing cancer, STDs, fertility, erectile dysfunction, birth control, and routine checkups, patient education, so you understand your body and how to take care of it, pregnancy testing and services, STD testing, which is something everyone should do, treatment and vaccines as well, women's services, which is the same, more testing, pelvic exams, even cancer screenings, and pregnancy-related services. Apparently these are both political groups, according to Unity, who, the more they keep talking, the more off their rocker they are going, and they are heading in a bad way. And just to prove that, we're just going to hop straight into the next part of our story, which is the EGDF calls for the EU regulation on non-negotiable contracts in wake of Unity backlash. So yeah, this is pretty bad for Unity because the European Games Developer Federation has voiced its concerns over Unity's runtime fee, talking about looming game engine market failure. The EGDF published a statement on its website on Thursday, describing Unity's changes as unfortunate, adding that with these sudden and drastic changes, the engine firm has significantly damaged its reputation, reliability, and predictable business partner. It's likened the move to anti-competitive market behaviour. They are not words that you want associated with your company, by the way. This is why Sony's in trouble in the UK, because they're getting sued on similar accusations. That must be carefully monitored, and if required, the European competition authorities must step in. And this is bad. This is bad for Unity. Let's just make this perfectly clear. If they step in, Unity will be heavily regulated, sanctioned, and fined, and it could be very, very bad for them. Not just as a public image thing, but these cases are serious, and if you get found to doing this stuff, you might get a really hefty fine that you don't want. And the EU's playing ball with this stuff now. They are cracking down. It's why Apple has changed their connector to the USB-C, because the EU forced them to. The new install fees will limit game developers' freedom to conduct business as it pushes them to implement Unity ad-based business models even in games that otherwise would not have ad-based monetization. This goes back to the other day when I was saying in the story that Unity was basically saying, you don't have to pay the runtime fee if you go into our ad system and put our ads in your game. This is what I was talking about. This is real, guys. The EGDF wrote, furthermore, this will create a competitive disadvantage for those game distribution platforms that do not use ad-based monetization at all, subscription services and pay-per-download games, as Unity is de facto forcing them to increase their consumer fees compared to channels that allow the use of Unity's ad-based monetization tools. It continued, install fees will lead to markets where game developers want to limit the downloads and try to avoid installs from the wrong players. This can potentially kill part of the game market. For example, indie developers that have an unfortunate mix of being a success on the number of installs but that are struggling to generate revenue, or hyper-casual game studios based on combining a huge install base with minuscule revenue generated per game. So they're calling for a new regulatory framework at the EU level for unfair, non-negotiable B2B contract terms. So I'm presuming B2B is business-to-business contract terms. And for further research and development support for European games industry. And bear in mind, European games is huge, and there is a lot of powerful studios that are based in Europe who have vested interests in stuff like this. And the EU does understand how important the game sector is, especially in terms of future growth. The commissions should introduce a specific regulation for non-negotiable business-to-business contract terms. The regulation should provide sufficient time, in a minimum 6 months, for markets to react to significant changes in non-negotiable terms and conditions that a service provider has communicated to their business users in a plain, clear and understandable manner. E.g., now it is unclear how Unity counts the installs. Furthermore, the Commission should bring much-needed market certainty by banning retroactive pricing and contract changes. so they would make it illegal for Unity to do what they're doing. The Federated post highlighted how Unity's new pricing structure would affect particularly small to medium developers and highlighted its impact on games education as well. Unity's decision will have a broader impact on the whole game industry ecosystem. Many professional game education institutions have built their curriculum on the Unity game engine. If Unity's new pricing model starts a mass exodus from Unity's engine, it will lead to rapid changes in professional game education itself and place many young industry professionals who have built their career plans on mastering Unity's tools in a very difficult position. Now, Unity says it's going to walk this stuff back, but I have very little faith that they're going to do that because basically their apology was a non-apology and they didn't say they were going to walk this back. But this is very, very bad for Unity to have this level of scrutiny on the company, and it does not look good for their overall future. Let's put it that way. They need to rapidly go on damage control before it escalates, put it bluntly. Our next story comes from Kotaku. Destiny 2 has just had one of its wildest weekends ever, and this is an interesting one. So, it's beautiful when games break. It can also be incredibly fun for players and a nightmare for developers in charge of making sure everything keeps humming along without issue. Over the weekend, Destiny 2 players discovered a wonderful glitch that let them craft godlike weapons and tear through challenging endgame missions with ease. Days later, Bungie is still trying to put the genie back in the bottle. Oh yeah! If you don't like grinding in Destiny 2, and you played this weekend, you probably had a lot of fun blasting through stuff. So we're just going to go into what this weapon glitch is. So on September 15th, a new crafting glitch started making the rounds on social media and various Destiny 2 subreddits. It effectively allows players to create a new weapon with any set of perks they want by slowing down the game and swapping screens quickly. On PC, players put the frame rate down to 30 FPS to increase the window of time, pull off the exploit, while console owners installed massive files in the background to create a similar amount of lag. The result was the ability to create bows that fire grenades, auto rifles that shoot shotgun shells, each with mixes of some of the most powerful perks from standard legendary ones like Chill Clip to unique exotic perks from guns like the Dead Messenger grenade launcher and Osteostriga submachine gun. These broken builds quickly started proliferating in various modes in dungeons and raids. It allowed players to clear encounters and demolish bosses in record time. Oh god, these even worked in PvP! In competitive PvP, like Trials of Osiris. However, it gave players incredibly unfair advantages and made it easy to essentially glitch your way into some of Destiny 2's most coveted accomplishments, like flawlessly going through an entire Trials run without losing. Many in the community assumed Bungie would roll back the game to remove the glitch and anything players had gained from using it. Instead, the studio gave players its blessing to have fun while it worked on a fix. And here's what Bungie had to say. We're aware of an issue that allows specific weapon perks to be crafted into other legendary weapons, are investigating a fix which will result in these weapons being reset in the future, the studio announced on Twitter on September 15th. We currently don't have any plans to disable Trials of Osiris due to this issue. There's a complex issue that they can't fix quickly, but they are going to fix it and everything will be put back to rights. I don't know whether they'll redo the achievements or anything, but the weapons will be reset back to normal and stuff. I mean, at least Bungie's just like, yeah, have fun. Have fun while we work on the fix for this, it's alright, it doesn't matter. Well, I'll tell you who's not having fun. Which brings us into our final story of the day. This one's from Eurogamer. And that is people who bought Mortal Kombat 1 for the Switch version, which is being called robbery as graphical comparisons flood the internet and ask for a refund in a heartbeat. Mortal Kombat 1 released in early access last week across Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series XS. Since then, several users have uploaded footage and screenshots showcasing the Switch version of the game, and the results aren't good. In fact, the version available on Nintendo's hybrid console has been wildly panned, and many wondering how the developer can ask the same price on Switch as other platforms. Oh god, some of this stuff's horrific. Fans have taken to the likes of Twitter and TikTok to question NetherRealm's decision to market Mortal Kombat 1 as a $70 Switch release. It's been called robbery and disrespectful to users. Dear god. Dear god. Oh my god. The hair looks so much worse. And the shirt. And the face. got like a jagged line through his face. It's like someone smeared Vaseline on the game. Look, it's like someone just smeared Vaseline on the game. And that's not even the same. The guy on the right is just not even animated. He's just a standard character. I'm pretty sure that probably was just the default T-pose face that he had. That was just like the general face he has when it isn't animated and isn't doing anything. Whereas the one on the left's like the one where the animation is actually playing. Oh dear lord. Oh dear lord. Okay. Whew. I think we can all agree that that is terrible. And obviously people are saying like, how is this even the same game? And like, I'd be asking for a refund. Nintendo fans keep saying, graphics don't matter. Mortal Kombat heard you loud and clear. $70 for this. Oh god dear lord, this is like some nightmare fuel. That's the only thing that I can think of. This is like nightmare fuel. They don't use Jonimbo, who regularly covers Nintendo releases. The Mortal Kombat 1 feels like a PS1 game. It's just horrible. In a follow-up video, the creator says, while they are happy to have access to Mortal Kombat 1 on Switch, it feels borderline criminal to be charging the same price for this version of the game as the Xbox and PS counterparts. He said, it doesn't feel bad to play, but it really hurts the eyes. So your eyes are going to bleed, but it's playable. But anyways, guys, that's it for today's videos. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think about all the stories down below. This was a mad one. A lot of Xbox leaks from the FTC, filings and all that from that case. And that was the dominant thing. It's just Unity, man. Like, honestly, they need to start saying stuff and not the stuff they've been saying. They need to start walking this back loudly and in front of everyone, because if regulators get involved, that's going to hurt a lot more than just some upset consumers and developers. Let's put it that way. Let me know what you guys thought about everything, and peace out, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.